So today we'll be talking about supercharging your resume. All right. And so I'll just do a quick intro about myself. I have been in IT more than 20 years. I've worked in all sorts of organizations, public sector, private sector, big and small, tech companies. And I'm currently working at UN Habitat as a cloud security engineer. And then most importantly, for the last 12 years, I've been helping people update their resumes, their LinkedIn profiles, and many of them I have been helping with their mentoring through their IT careers as well. And as of this month, I have helped more than 450 people. Besides that, I am also the founder of Hack Now, which is a platform for exposing corruptions globally, just recently launched. And I also run a weekly meeting called Freedom Advocacy Network, which features amazing change makers every week. And we featured Wasla Connect themselves about 4 or 5 months ago. Besides that, I'm also the author of Ace the Interview book, which you can download for free. I have already put the links in the chat, and but you can also take a look at the link, and it's just a link tree where you can download the book for free. All right, so we'll get right into it. Questions are welcome during the call and after the call, and either way is good. And we'll go through all of these points to help supercharge your resume and really stand out. And basically, one of the big reasons we want to make sure that your resume is top notch is so that you you are always competing with a large number of other people. So a typical job, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people apply for every single job, especially in IT, but many other areas in many other fields as well. And how do you stand out? Nobody's going to look at 1,000 resumes or 2,000 resumes. And so what you have to do is you have to build your resume in a way that it gets past the algorithms and past the machines to get into the hands of a human being. And so that's what we'll talk about in this call. So we'll get right to the first point. And this is the only slide with an animation. And that's just to really emphasize how important this point is. So if you take away anything from this call, you don't remember anything from this call, remember this. The words that are in the job description must be in your resume. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that for emphasis. And I'm really emphasizing this one. This is the only one with the animation. The words that are in the job description must be in your resume. Okay, and so I'll give you some examples. Okay, and I like to use this example to really drive home the point. So let me just go to this resume. So let's say Sarah is going to apply to, and I'm doing this live intentionally on purpose. I'm searching job descriptions, and I haven't looked at these particular job descriptions before. And we're going to work with an example resume, a very average looking resume. Sarah has some experience as a Java developer and also has some infrastructure experience as well. And she's a senior Java developer, right? And so I'll just randomly pick one of these jobs. So I'll just, let's say, pick this one, okay? And so if Sarah was to apply to this job, we want to have a good chance of Sarah getting an interview, right? And so what I'm going to do is see how many words match between Sarah's resume and the job description for the job that she's going to apply to. So let's say hypothetically she's going to apply to this job, okay? So I have a little tool on my website, salmannaqvi.com, word matches, and you can just go there. This is available live, and you can put in any text, right? So I'm going to put in Sarah's resume, and I'm going to go back to that job description that I've never seen before, right? And I'm going to copy and paste the job description, okay? And paste it here. And we can see, again, I haven't seen this job description before. I'm doing this live very intentionally because it's always like really kind of gets to the point. So the 55 words match between Sarah's resume and the job description, okay? Now what we'll do is we'll look at my resume, okay? And I am a cloud automation and security engineer, right? I have no Java development background. I'm not a Java developer, right? And then what I'll do is I'll copy my resume, and it's pretty long. I'm going to copy all the text, right? I'm going to replace Sarah's resume with my resume. And we'll see how many words match. Okay. Just before we do that, I just want, like a couple of people to put any number in the chat, like how many words you think will match, like 50, 100, 250, 30. Keeping in mind that I'm a cloud engineer and Sarah is a Java developer, and we want to see how many words match between her resume and the job description and my resume and the job description. If I can just even get one answer in the chat. Okay, 7, 20, 100. Okay, all right, good. We're all over the place. Okay, so let's see who is the closest. Okay, so I put that in. I'm gonna click match. 110. So Rana wins. Okay. All right. So now let's very closely look at the words that do match. All these 110 words match, and there's almost no technical words in here, right? These are just besides Python and one or two other technical words like SQL, which pretty much anybody can put in their resume. Any technical person can put in their resume. Um, um, there's most of the words in here are just regular English words: solutions, technical, communication, enterprise, prepared, queries, understanding, confident, right? Expectations. All these are just generic words that anybody can put in their resume. And so if Sarah wants to stand up, so what happens when, let's say hypothetically Sarah applied to this job. And let's say hypothetically, I also applied to this job, even though I don't qualify. I have no Java development experience. I'm a cloud engineer, right? Sarah's resume on the left, my resume on the right. What happens is all these 1,000 resumes will end up in a application tracking system. And the hiring manager or the HR person or the recruiter, what they will do is they'll tell the application tracking system, give me the top 50 matching resumes, right? And most of them, they do something simple like a word match. And some of them are a little bit more advanced where they do some phrase matching, some keyword matching, but largely they work like this basically. And so what would happen is they will ask for the top 50 resumes that have the most number of matching words or phrases or sentences. And um, Sarah's resume only had 50 words matching. Mine had 100 plus word matching. Mine is more likely to be in the list of top 30 or 40 resumes that they look at. And they'll look at my resume and they're like, oh, this person's not a developer. And then they'll toss it aside. But it will actually get looked at. While Sarah, on the other hand, she's a senior Java developer and her resume will not get looked at because it's not even ending up in the top 30 or 40 or 50, right? So basically, the point is you have to have the words that are in the job description in your resume. Now, obviously, if you have words that, like, let's pick on this one, for example, SonarQube. I have no idea what that is. And let's say, like, Sarah doesn't have that word in her resume. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. Nor I don't have that word in my resume either, right? And then in this job description, there will be some words that are specific to the company, like Murex. That's the name of the company, I think. Yeah. And if Sarah wouldn't have the word Murex in her resume, and that's perfectly fine too. So so you can't have all the words, but all of these generic type words you can always have, right? So and you can just literally go to my website, salmannaqvi.com, put in your resume, put in the job description, see see what words are there, see what words are missing, and then add them to your resume as well. Okay. And then this is the most important point. So I spent the most amount of time on this, and I want to make sure that we have room for discussion afterwards. So I'll go through the rest of the points much more quickly. Okay. Only get advice from experts. So if I need someone to make a website for me, I'll go to a website developer. If I need the switch in my room, in my house replaced that turns the light on and off, I will go to an electrician. But I won't ask the electrician to turn off to make a website for me, nor will I ask the web developer to do my electrical work for me, right? No matter how smart the web developer is, it won't be safe for them to do the electricity stuff, and vice versa, right? And so Unfortunately, what happens with resumes is everybody gives us advice. Your professor, your previous manager, your coworker, your best friend, and all these people, they love you, they want the best for you, but they're not resume experts. They're giving you advice, but they're not resume experts. So, it's and they give advice based on what they think, based on their intuition, what is the right advice. Some people say one-page resume, some say two-page resume, some say three-page resume. Um, and all of that advice is wrong, right? And so you only want to get advice from people who can prove to you that their advice will get you results. And what are the results that you want? You want more interviews so that you can eventually get a job, right? So a one-page resume or a two-page resume will not get you interviews or not get you as many interviews, right? And so when you follow this advice, your resume will become very long, right? And I'll show you my resume. It's not just because I have lots of experience, but it's very intentionally very long because I have put in lots and lots of words from lots of different job descriptions for the type of jobs I want to apply to. Okay. So, and there's a person running away here because I was doing some electrical work on in my house and I messed it up and I had to call an electrician. And so I had to run away from my wife a little bit while that was getting fixed. So that's why the running man is there. So, all right. So, now let's say you follow my advice, you end up with a 5-page resume or a 6-page resume because you add lots and lots of words in your resume. You still want the person who's reading your resume to have a good experience, right? So for that reason, I recommend having a 1-page summary version of your resume that's attached to your full resume. And so that's what I do myself, okay? And again, in the links that I put in the chat, you can see my resume as an example, and other things that I'm mentioning. So this page has a summary of all my experiences, education, certification, skills, and some key projects. But then if somebody wants to know in more detail what I did at this job, they can just scroll down and see. If somebody wants to know in more detail what I did at this job, they can just scroll down and see. Okay. So this helps you cater to the human being as well as to cater to the the machines as well who are parsing through your resume. Okay. Don't be humble in your resume. Don't be humble at interviews. It's good to be humble in your life in general, but resume and interviews are not the places to be humble. So if you led a project, if you pioneered something at your company, if you did a major project all on your own, you built some amazing products, everything should be on your resume. No, don't hide anything. Don't be humble. So a resume is not a place to be humble. Be humble in your life, but not in an interview and not in your resume. Okay. There you put everything on the table. Make powerful headlines. So basically, add your qualifications, your key skills, your certifications, your degrees to your resume. So for example, I don't have a master's degree or PhD, so I don't have that there. But I have some certifications that I put there. I put some key skills that I have put there, and then my bachelor's. So if you have a diploma, master's, PhD, or any certifications, put them besides your name. So then people, when they see it, they know right away what kind of skill set that you have, right? A lot of people have some amazing certifications or skills or education or diplomas, and sometimes you don't see it until you scroll all the way down to the education section. But then if it's besides your name as well, then it's extra obvious, right? And then if, again, somebody wants to know more details about my BSc, they can scroll down in my resume and see what my BSc was in, for example. Copy and paste content from your resume to your LinkedIn profile. In many markets around the world, LinkedIn is basically pretty much has a monopoly on the hiring. So a lot of hiring happens through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is basically, the king in this space. So you want to make sure that whatever updates you make to your resume, they're on LinkedIn as well. So If we take a look at my resume, for example, and go to my LinkedIn profile, which I have opened from before, you'll see that it's exactly the same content that's on my resume. Okay. And so you just copy and paste, right? And so just make sure your LinkedIn is up to date because the same type of searches that are happening through the application tracking systems, they're happening on LinkedIn as well. So um, add LinkedIn recommendations to your resume. Okay. So I recommend adding these for multiple reasons. So at the bottom of my resume, I put in all the LinkedIn recommendations that I have gotten. Okay. So and these are just copied and pasted directly from LinkedIn. Okay. I have just gotten some recently that I haven't put here yet, but all the rest are here already. And yeah, otherwise it's all the same. So what this does is it adds even more words in your resume that help you get past the algorithms. Okay. And so, for example, the word savvy, it doesn't appear anywhere else in my resume. It only appears once, and it's in the recommendation section, right? And one of my colleagues was kind enough to give me a recommendation in English and French. So now I have a bunch of French words in my resume as well. And you never know which word in your resume will help you get a job in the future. Okay. And one real example that I like to give is one of my very first jobs as a co-op student. I worked on some product called Crystal Reports. It's still around 25 years later. And every once in a while, somebody reaches out to me for a role involving Crystal Reports. So you never know when this might be relevant in the future. Okay. So even your oldest experiences you should have on your resume. Um, I recommend only having one copy of your resume. Okay, so um, there's very common advice that's provided to tailor your resume for different job descriptions. No, don't do that. Don't do that. When you do that, you lose words in the process. Let's say you have a 3-page resume, you tailor it for the next job based on that job description. When you add words based on that job description, you still inevitably lose some words in the process. So what I recommend doing is having one copy of your resume, okay? And I like to show this example. In my resumes folder, I only have one copy of my resume. And then the other one is just a PDF version. It's the same thing. Exported as PDF, okay? And then what I like to show here is that there's a version history, and I've been working on the same resume, same file for literally 10 years, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2015, all the way to 2015. It's been the same resume that I've been working on. And I just keep adding more and more and more contents and more words here. And then here's a current version. Okay. And it doesn't matter, like you can make your resume in Canva, you can make it in Word, you can make it in Google Drive, any platform that works for you, whatever you're comfortable with, but just have one copy of your resume. That's your best version, that's your primary version, that's your golden version, and then just keep adding to it. So add projects to your resume. So that's something I have done in my projects highlight section, right? Where you can highlight some key projects that you have done. And this is really useful for new graduates as well. So this example resume, which is also in the links that I shared in the chat, and this person was a little short on experience, but they did some amazing projects in the few experiences that they did have, right? And so I asked her to really highlight those projects. And sometimes, when you have a job description, it doesn't adequately capture the projects that you have done as part of those jobs, right? So I think she did this project as part of this job, but then like capturing all of these details in this job description would just kind of like be watered down, like it would be less effective, right? So you can have like a dedicated project section. And then if your projects are more impressive than your experiences, then they can even go above your experience section. So it doesn't matter which order they appear at in the resume, right? So that's something you can do. And so you can download your resume and download this template. And Noor has a question, please.
Yeah, I just want to ask you if you want to have the question now or at the end of the session. We have one question on the comment
Yeah,
on the
oh yeah,
chat.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. There is a Karam ask, I have seen a lot of advice about keeping the resume to one page. Do you think we should keep it only one or two if you have more years of experiences?
yeah. So that was a very first and most important point we covered, and I will repeat again for emphasis. Forget the two-page limit. Forget the one-page limit, right? And fill your resume with lots of content, all the amazing projects that you have done, all the amazing experiences that you have, all the amazing courses that you have done. Put everything in your resume, okay? And uh, maybe like 1 out of 200 jobs, or maybe 1 out of 100 jobs, they say uh, that you can only submit a resume that's 2 pages or 1 page, right? So if all in those rare circumstances, you would, I'm recommending that you have this 1 page version created anyways, and you can just send that, right? But besides those rare cases, nobody cares how many pages your resume is, right? And so yeah, so forget the 1 page or 2 page or 3 page limit. Just forget that it exists, because you want to get results. What are the results you want? You want to get interviews. And if you're applying with 1,000 other people, your 1 page resume is not going to get you anywhere, because nobody's going to look at 1,000 resumes. They're going to put it in the machines. They're going to put it in application tracking systems. It's going to filter the resumes that have the most number of words or phrases or sentences matching. And yeah. So Kinda asked, even if the company doesn't use ATS, right? We don't know which company uses ATS, which doesn't, right? So any company where there's lots of people applying, they are using ATSs pretty much, right? Because if 1,000 people apply, it's not possible for any human to actually look at 1,000 resumes. And even if they look at each one for like 5 seconds and spend like 2 hours looking at 1,000 resumes over 5 seconds, they're not going to get any meaningful information out of it. Like it's gonna be kind of like useless. So um and the last point is have a blog. Okay, so um we'll just go with we'll do a quick example. Okay, so one of the people who asked a question, actually we'll just come up with a new name. So let's say your name is Karamabushi, right? So then you can go to WordPress.com and see if that name is available. And so, like, for example, this name that I just made up, Karamabushi, that name is available. So then you can go to WordPress.com and then make your own blog post. And so that's what I've done with my blog post. Okay. And then you can also buy the domain if you want, but you don't have to. If you have, your name.wordpress.com, that's perfectly fine. And it's so easy to make a blog post these days, okay, because of AI. So for example, I'll go to my GitHub account, okay, and I'll just pick any of the repositories that I'm already working on. And then the repository has a bunch of stuff, content in there anyways, right? And so then I can go to, we don't use ChatGPT because that's big tech. So we'll use our favorite Palestine supporting Torah AI, right? Is supported by our friends at Tech for Palestine as well. And I can just ask it to make a blog post for me. So make a casual sounding 3-paragraph blog post about this content. Okay. And then AI is terrible at creating content without any context. But when you give it a lot of context, uh, a lot of text, a lot of any other information, and then ask it to create content, then it does a good job. So if you tell it to create a blog post about cloud security, it'll do a terrible job. But if you say create a blog post about cloud security based on this text and you give it a lot of good information, then it will do a great job. So it has created a blog post for me, right? It even created a title for me. And so I'm gonna go back to my blog post, create a new post, okay? And I'm very deliberately doing this live to show you how quick and easy it is, okay? And normally I would spend maybe like 5 to 10 additional minutes just reviewing the text because AI can make mistakes, right? And make sure that the text makes sense, right? And then because this is about one of my existing projects, I will add a screenshot from that project in there, right? Um, and uh, and then in less than 60 or 70 seconds, right in front of you, I have a published blog post. And then so if I go to, it's just uploading the image. And if I go to salmannaqvi.com now, and you can go there too, you'll see that this blog post is already there live. Okay. So that's how easy and quick it is to, and so I'm sure all of you already have lots of content from your school projects or work projects or other things that you have done, and you can write quick blog posts about it. And then it doesn't have to be long. And so like I would normally spend 5 minutes reviewing and editing this and making sure that it's accurate because again, AI can make mistakes. But then, you have a blog post in 20, 30 minutes, you can have 2 or 3 blog posts. And then so once you have that, you can add that to your resume and put a link to it on your resume. So then all of these things combined make you look like a really good candidate versus people that you're competing with, other people who are applying to the same jobs. Okay. So I want to make sure we have a good amount of time for Q&A, so that's why I kind of went through things quickly. I want this to be as interactive as possible, so please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions or ask in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. But again, the most important point, fill your resume with words from the job description. And again, when we did that word match thing, we can see like most of the words are just non-technical, right? Like there's barely like 4 or 5 technical words in here. Most of the other words, they can be added in any resume, and you can find places in your resume to put almost all of these words, right? Only get advice from experts. Lots of resume advice that's provided by most people, including your friends, family, is not in your best interest because it won't get you interviews. You want to get interviews. So, and this applies to all areas of life. If you want to buy a house, you talk to a real estate agent. If you have medical issue, you talk to a doctor, right? But no matter how great your real estate agent is, you don't talk to them about medical advice, for example, right? Don't be humble in your resume. Have a nice, powerful headline, have a summary page, 1-page version of your resume that you attach to your existing resume as the first page, right? Add projects, copy content to LinkedIn, duplicate your resume on LinkedIn, add LinkedIn recommendations to your resume. One important point I forgot to mention about that. So besides it adding more words to your resume, I added this to my resume about 8, 9 years ago. And every time I have had interviews since then, I've gotten lots of great feedback from hiring managers, recruiters, because they say that it's having the recommendations on your resume is like having a permanent public reference. All these people are saying, hey, work with this person. He's good to work with for X, Y, and Z reasons, right? Forget about having different versions of your resume, just one copy of your resume, right? And make a blog post with at least 3 to 5 posts and keep adding posts over time. Especially now that in the world of AI, it's so easy to add more content. Use your existing content, don't tell it to just generate out of nowhere. Give it your existing content, make it unique to you, make it meaningful, review it for accuracy, and then publish it, right? You spend 5, 10 minutes on each blog post at least, right? But it doesn't have to be a whole lot more than that. And then after that, inshallah, you start getting interviews, and then you can go to my website and download the AC interview book for free and read that. It's a very short book, maybe 2 to 4 hours to read the whole thing, and it'll help you prepare for the interview. So thank you very much. And so now I'll start going through the questions. Question from Alyssa. The meeting is being recorded, so you will get access to the presentation. And actually, what I'll do is I'll just put the presentation
I will,
on my
sorry for interruption. I will attach the presentation slides and all the resources you, Salman, inshallah, will share it with me on the description of the YouTube video. So you will have access to all of this. Don't worry about this.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. And for good measure, I'll put the presentation on the on my blog as well. Yet another good thing to put there. So next question, what if I'm transitioning to a text position, data science or ML? How to write old experiences in my resume? Okay, so that's a very good question. Okay. I highly recommend even like even if you were, let's say, hypothetically an electrician before or accountant before or anything, no matter what you were doing, put all of that in your resume. So, for example, some of the projects that I'm doing, they're on my resume. Some of the volunteer work, including Wasla itself, is also on my resume. And then some of the non-tech jobs that I did, they're also on my resume. You never know when and which content from your resume might help you get your future job, right? So and there's no harm in it being there. And then also this Java developer role, sorry, this template that you can download and use, the link has already been provided. That's a great way of highlighting, so like you're transitioning to data science or ML, right? In the process, you're probably doing some projects that you have already done as part of your studies or maybe your internship. You can put them in your project section and really highlight those projects and then still leave your old experiences in there, but you really want to kind of highlight that you are doing projects and like showing and emphasizing that data science or ML work. So leave all this the old stuff, just put it further down in your resume, and then the more relevant new stuff, put it on top of your resume, on the first page, on the second page, etc. All right. So please, let's make this interactive. Feel free to unmute and ask your burning questions. I know some of you must have questions. Don't be shy. You're welcome, Summer.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hi, Salman. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Karam?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm doing great. I had a question. So we pretty much went over what is good. Do you have any advice or tips on what is bad or what to always steer away from, not include?
Not include on your resume. Like pretty much the only thing, so things are different in different parts of the world. In Canada, it's pretty common that while you're doing your studies, you do different part-time jobs. Like like I have personally decided not to include those part-time jobs that I did I worked at fast food, I worked at a metal factory, a plastic factory, a wood factory. Like while I was a student to, pay off my student tuition and things like that, I didn't include those in my resume, and because they're really not relevant. But besides that, I've pretty much included all jobs, right? So I wouldn't really say like, okay, no, must not include. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing to include those either. But yeah. Um, Okay, so one thing I would say that I didn't touch on that your point kind of reminded me of, your resume should be decent looking, if not good looking. Okay, so like for example, okay, yeah, yeah. So I'm glad you asked this question. Okay, so a lot of people like they kind of sometimes have like mixture of like different fonts and then different font sizes and things kind of look things kind of look like kind of broken, and it just throws you off. So then like it's subtle, but it just doesn't look very good. So your resume, like everything should be always consistent. So I'm just gonna undo these changes because I just made the changes to the live version that everyone is seeing. But your font should be consistent. All your headings, colors should be consistent. Simple things like, the spacing should be consistent, right? So like people make these silly mistakes and they kind of like, okay, you have space here, but not here, right? Things like that. So it's like a minor thing, but when you're looking at like when you're hiring, you're looking at 30, 40 resumes, and like some of them they look good, like this one, for example. But then some other ones they don't look very good. Then you're like, I'm not sure, you know. And then one really easy way of making good looking resumes is in Canva. So you can go to Canva and then so I made my first page, for example, in Canva, and then I attached the PDF to the rest of the pages, right? But you can make your whole resume in Canva, and you can go to Canva and you can search resumes, and you can find, you can see the ones with the crown, those are paid, but then there's many free ones that are not paid, and like this one looks great, for example, right? And this one's free, and this one looks pretty great too, right? So, so your resume should be good looking. When people see a lot of basic looking resumes, but then one stands out a little bit visually, it will help you as well. Okay, and then okay, so I'll go to the questions. What do you think of the website Europast or Europa.eu? So I'm not familiar with that site, so I can't comment on that. I'm sorry. More often than not, and there's many resume creation tools online. Most of them will not follow the advice that I'm providing, which is having lots of content. They'll create a very nice looking 2-page, 3-page resume for you. But they typically, all the ones that I have seen don't let you add tons and tons of content. They try to kind of limit you. And it's kind of intuitive. Okay, yeah, you shouldn't have more than 2 or 3-page resume, right? But it's just like, it just doesn't get you the results, right? Even to me, it seems intuitive. Okay, yeah, resume should only be 2 pages. But does it get you results? No. Okay, so then forget about the 2-page limit, right? So next question. How can I gain an employer's trust and position myself as job ready when I have no formal experience, but I have completed several real projects? Yeah, okay, great. So that's definitely like the blog is definitely a part of that, right? It helps you build that online presence, right? The blog can also be like your portfolio. And then if you are in IT, which I suspect most of you are, your GitHub profile is also an important thing. And so I recommend also including that in your resume. And I have included in mine as well. And people can see your GitHub activity and some of your content. So what about references? Yeah, so references, like people say, okay, references available upon request. Like you don't need to add that. When companies want references, they'll ask for you, and so it is what it is. And then the LinkedIn, the adding your LinkedIn profile to your resume also works like references. Okay, so they don't replace references, but they are they help a lot. Okay. And Deepak has a question. Deepak, please.
Good evening, Salman bhai. Am I audible?
Your volume is very low, but you are audible.
Okay. Now, can you hear me?
A little better, but
Hello.
I'll turn up my volume for a second. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for your great presentation. I have two quick questions. What should be the ideal resume size? Because last year I attended one workshop of 2 or 3 days by one person who was from he was an NRI, and he suggested 2-page resume, and he said there should not be any photos, images, and no left right side format. So he said ATS blocks that. So I just wanted your opinion on this. If we put 2-page format, like left side we write our name, address, and then right side, it ATS blocks it, or it passes through ATS. And what would be the ideal resume size?
Yeah, yeah.
And we suggested to put only 10 keywords. So on that also I need your expert advice, whether
Yeah.
that 10 keywords only is required or we can insert more keywords. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, so again, that's just unfortunately bad, outdated advice. So, again, people kind of go on their intuition. Oh, I don't want to read a resume that's more than 2 pages. So people's resume should not be more than 2 pages, right? But does that get you results? When 1,000 other people are applying to the same job, and people are going to use application tracking systems to filter out the resumes, is that 2-page resume going to help you? No, it's just not going to work. And look at my resume. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's literally 10 pages. It's font size 10, and the margins are small. And despite that, it's 10 pages. And this resume gets results. Okay, so normally what I do when I'm doing this one-on-one is I show you my email and show you all the solicitations for jobs that I get thanks to this resume. And not only do I get solicitations for the experiences that I have experience in, but I also get solicitations for many related jobs: project management, BA, manager, director positions, many different types of security positions, so many different types of positions, things that I'm not qualified in. But and because this is a recorded webinar, I don't want to show you the content of my email. But this gets results. So ignore that outdated advice. Okay, so also what that person told you about the formatting and not having stuff left and right and things like that, that used to be true until 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but it's not relevant today. Modern ATSs, you throw PDF at them, you throw content at them with different columns, you send them Word documents, you use open document format, any RTF format, anything you send at them, they will parse the text properly. And so you don't have to worry about that. So unfortunately, you got outdated advice. And again, the biggest proof of that is if you follow that advice and you apply to 100 jobs, your reply rate, like the number of interviews you will get, would be very low. And so, but if you follow the advice of having lots of content on your resume, then you will get many more interviews and then not only that, people will find you once you copy and paste the content on LinkedIn as well. People will find you through LinkedIn as well. So, yeah, so, okay. And I think there was more questions in the chat. Let me just find the chat again. I'm a new graduate with no experience. What should I focus on my resume? Very good question. For that, again, I would come back to this developer resume. This person had relatively small amount of experience. So that's why I recommended to her to highlight her projects that she did. While you're studying, you're doing lots of amazing projects, right? Add several projects in the project section, and then add a list of your courses in the courses section. Create a courses section, and add all the interesting things you did in those courses, right? So, next question: should we edit the resume for every job? Definitely not. So this comes back to this point. Have only one copy of your resume. Okay. So, uh, so for example, I'll show you, I showed you my resume and I showed you how I've been working on the same copy of my resume. And then in the last 23 years, I've had multiple different types of IT roles, help desk, then voice over IP, then enterprise networking, then data center networking, and then now cloud, and then cloud security, right? I've transitioned through all of these roles, and I have all of those in my resume. And so just one copy of your resume that you keep editing and you keep adding more and more and more content to. And that will get you results, okay? And because then that will help you get your resume past the machines into the hands of a human being. And more often than not, people, so let's say you wanted to hire, um, let's say, like somebody mentioned they're studying machine learning, right? So let's say you wanted to hire a machine learning engineer. But then before they were a machine learning engineer, they were doing web development, right? So then if an employer sees that, okay, they're doing machine learning now, before they were doing web development, they would see that web development previous experience as an asset. So, um, a machine learning engineer who also knows web development is a more in demand, more marketable machine engineer than somebody who's just a machine learning engineer, right? So, um, okay. Uh, did Alyssa have her hand up, or did I not see that? Or am I seeing this? Yes. Any other questions? Uh, so until another question comes up, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. So um, the on your LinkedIn profile, you should have a so my LinkedIn profile, is basically just I've made it for activism now. So you don't follow what I'm doing on my LinkedIn, for example. But you should have a professional picture, right? And then you should have a professional headline. And it should be clear what kind of skills you have and what kind of jobs you're looking for, right? And then you should also uh, maximize this section as well. Again, what kind of jobs you're looking for. And this could be, again, copied and pasted from your resume. So then if you have a similar section in your resume, you can copy and paste that from your resume to this section. Also in LinkedIn, you can add your certifications, your education, your volunteering, and you can even add projects. So you can go to add profile section and then click add projects and then add projects that you have done on LinkedIn. So if you decide to add projects in your resume, add them on LinkedIn as well. And so you can see that there's a bunch of things that you can add. So in my case, I personally have not added projects yet, but I just haven't had a need to. But I have added my certifications, courses, and recommendations. And then you can add other things too. So you can make the most of these things. So if you got really good test scores in something, you can add that, right? You can add your languages. Almost all of you speak 2 or 3 languages. So definitely add that, take advantage of that, right? And any other organizations you're associated with, any causes you're associated with. So take advantage of this. Really maximize your LinkedIn presence. All right. Okay. So there's a question from Ahmed, but I don't understand what the question is. Will be one-to-one session for enhancing CV, then get a job.
So hi Salman.
Hi,
This
Khadija. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Thank you so much for providing this amazing session. I personally really enjoyed it, and I hope everyone benefited from it and from your very, very insightful advice. Just a quick reminder, maybe if this will if this answers some questions through the chat, but we're opening our fifth cohort soon in January 2025, and as we are wrapping our fall cohort right now. So if anyone wants to get an opportunity to be matched with international amazing mentors, just like Salman. Salman is our dear mentor who's been with us for a while, and he's been helping a lot of our mentees, and he's also has been providing such amazing sessions like this. So if you want to get access to this kind of network with mentors primarily from the US and Canada to help you with your CV, with your interview, or technical skills, or anything else, like it's basically open. Please please sign up as a mentee through our link. I'll post it here later. I think Noor drop it in the chat, but I throw it again. Please sign up, and we'll try our best to match you with a mentor that matches your goal, after, of course, after passing the selection process, and like after being selected, because we have very limited seats. So I invite you all, for those who are not registered with us, to get this kind of opportunity by joining Wasla Connect.
Awesome. Thank you, Khadija. I noticed that I missed a question from Karam. Should we have skills section to help pass ATS, for example, cloud, AWS, AC? Yeah, definitely. I recommend adding a skills section. And so if you look at the developer resume example, there is a skills section with a bunch of keywords like that. And then that also reminded me of an important point. So for example, you mentioned AWS, EC2, etc. So some acronyms like EC2, they're always written as EC2. But some acronyms like AWS, they're sometimes written as AWS and sometimes written as Amazon Web Services. And for acronyms like those, they should appear in both forms. So if I was to write Amazon Web Services, I would write Amazon Web Services and AWS, both. So then this helps get past both variations in job description, because in job descriptions, you will see both versions very often. Something like SQL, you almost never see it fully written out, like SQL query language, right? So that's SQL is fine as SQL. And then also, I created a condensed 15-minute version of this discussion that we just had, which is also on my website. And it's also kind of posted on the top of my website, so you can always find it. So you can share this with any friends as well, in addition to this more detailed recording that will be available later. All right, so I guess we have run out of questions. Khadija or Noor, did you want to finish off with any final thoughts? Or that was already your final thought and I interjected after that, sorry.
No, at all. No, I just really want to thank you again for your time and efforts, and for always helping us at Wasla Connect, and help the Palestinians in general, and all the people who are living through genocide and hardships. But and I invite everyone, like, to listen to experts like Salman, and listen truly. Right now with AI, everything is possible, and we can see that everyone, like, you can right now get the gesture that this is a CB that is done by AI, or this piece of document is done by AI. So there's no wrong with AI. We almost all of us are right now using that, but with the experts' advice and all the recommendations and the suggestion that we got from the experts, we stand out amongst the others, and that really make us a step close to, for example, a job or a scholarship or whatever we're seeking. So it's very important to listen to experts, and to always ask questions that will bring a lot of new insight and a perspective to you or the other people around you, and maybe it will help you get reaching your goals. So yeah, we're now over the time right now, maybe 4 minutes, but thank you so much everyone for attending this session. This session is going to be recorded and we will post it later in our Wasla Connect YouTube channel, and please make sure to follow us on our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram. We post our updates there, and again I invite you to sign up as a mentee if you meet our criteria for to join us as a mentee in Wasla Connect Winter Cohort 2026. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Salman.
Thank you for hosting me. It's my honor to be here. Thank you.
The pleasure is ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Salman. We are so happy and glad to have you today. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
thank you, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye.